Hello, 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 beautiful people. I hope you're all having an amazing day today. Today, I definitely am. We've got some good topics today over here. If you don't know, you're at NGB Business News, the greatest business news commentary channel on YouTube, where we like to keep you up to date. You know what I'm saying? So if you like to stay up to date on finance, a little bit of politics, and everything that kind of has to do with business and the movement of money, definitely throw a like, subscribe, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Send the link to your mama. But we got some good stuff today. More is going on in this whole DeSantis versus Disney case. We all know that's been very interesting. It's been essentially a war for Florida, is what I would call it, as DeSantis essentially attacks Disney, the land around Disney, and everything like that. And as Disney fights for its policies, and more so, you could say, its control of its land in Florida. We're also going to talk about Google allegedly being sued by the judiciary branch for Congress, and everything like that, because apparently they've been subpoenaed or something like that, or they had some documents that they were supposed to, bring out, and apparently they haven't, or something like that. I don't know the details. Google, I love you. Because Google owns, technically owns this channel. We love Google over here. So and everything like that. But it is interesting to see that Google is going to be going through this. Trump's essay trial with Gene Carroll is actually going into its closing statement, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that's played out. That's something we've been covering on the channel a lot. It's really hard to keep up with all of the legal issues that Trump deals with, but hey, that's what we're going to do over here. So we're going to talk about that. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are actually telling us their 100-year plan. As we know, they're 100 years old, so unfortunately they won't be with us, or essentially all of us watching this won't be around at the end of that time. But it'll be really interesting to see what two of the best gurus in the finance space, or the largest leaders in the financial space, what they kind of want to predict, what they kind of want to see for their future and their families, and their corporation within, as they own Berkshire Hathaway 100 years from now. So I think that would be really interesting. But I'm not gonna hold you guys up. I'm gonna take a sip of my brew, and let's go ahead and get into the first. I was gonna say let's get into the first episode, but let's get into the first article, guys. So let's see here. So the first article says Disney expands lawsuit against DeSantis after governor signs bill to void land deals. As we know, they were fighting over land or property around the area of Disney, I believe. DeSantis even was at one point, threatening to, open up a theme park next to them. I think he said, too, that he would consider opening up a prison next to them, which, you're not going to want a prison next to Disneyland or Disney World. I'm not sure which one is in Florida. But let's see here. Now it says Disney, as we all know, this is DeSantis, by the way. He's looking kind of sad. He's looking kind of hurt here. It looks like he's about to cry, honestly. Like, somebody get that man a tissue. Now, Disney on Monday expanded its federal lawsuit against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, accusing the Republican leader of doubling down on his retribution campaign against the company by signing legislation to void Disney's development deals in Orlando. As you guys know, Disney will continue probably to just expand as much as they can. They only get bigger and bigger. They essentially own the state of Florida and Orlando, and everything like that. So we already know Disney is definitely always looking for expansion. They also have a lot more money on the table now too, because as you know, Disney released a large part of their workforce. So they got a little bit of liquidity because of that. Now, it says Disney's amended lawsuit also noted that Florida's Republican-led legislature passed legislation, last week, targeting Walt Disney World's Montreal system. Governor DeSantis and his allies have no apparent intent to moderate their regulatory campaign anytime soon, Disney wrote in its additions to the civil complaint it filed with the U.S. District Court in Tallahassee in April. Of course, as we know, DeSantis' office was not going to respond for comment. I don't know why CNBC News always says that. Like we always expect that because somebody comes out and says something bad that the person is going to just come out and instantly refute it. I never get that. But it says Disney alleges that DeSantis began a war of retaliation against the company in 2022 after it publicly criticized the controversial Florida bill dubbed Don't Say, G by critics that limits the discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in classrooms. Now, let me know too how you guys feel about this whole thing. I kind of feel like sexual orientation and gender identity isn't really something that should be spoken about in the classrooms. I feel like kind of what you do, what you do in your bed is kind of something that you don't really need to or speak to anyone else about, especially children. So I don't really see that. I understand the importance of teaching children like safe sex and everything like that. But outside of that, what people want to do specifically in the bedroom and how they interact with each other, I don't see how that really has any merit. Now, I would say if you have a kid who maybe wants to transition or, he comes to you and he says something like that, I feel like you should handle that and obviously not push it on them. But I feel like you should handle that in, a professional manner, tell them it's okay, to be who they want to be and everything like that. But I don't think that this is anything that should be pushed in any type of way in schools, especially since it's dealing with youth. And I don't think that it should really be discussed at all. Now, let's continue. Now, it says the governor and his allies targeted Disney's special tax district, formerly called the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which has allowed the entertainment giant to effectively self-govern its Orlando parks operations for decades. So essentially, Disney gets to make its own rules for places where on its land, essentially. Which you guys know is weird for any business. No business just because like let's say your business is in Atlanta. You don't get to change Atlanta policies for all the businesses around in that land, simply to, promote your efforts. Now, you may lobby, and everything like that, but Disney actually genuinely controls kind of the law of the land, I guess you could say. Now it says this drawn-out feud spilled into the courts after the district's new board of supervisors, which had been handpicked by DeSantis, voted to nullify development deals that Disney struck shortly before they replaced the old board. Excuse me, guys. It's one of those days. Now, it says the governor's board members claimed the deals were unlawfully passed and undercut their power over the 25,000 acre area. But Disney says the contracts were crafted to help lock in its long-term development plans amid escalating tension with DeSantis and his allies. So Disney basically got to the cheese earlier. I mean, I don't know. That's not really a quote or anything, but you know what I'm saying? They got to the money first. They knew DeSantis was coming in. They already knew that they would probably deal with some type of pressure. I don't think they thought that this entire war would necessarily end up playing out. I don't think they predicted it to get this ugly. I don't think any of us predicted it to get this ugly. I mean, at this point, Ron DeSantis is being attacked by even Republicans that are just like, what are you doing? And everything like that. Now it says on Friday, the final day of the state's 2022 legislative session, DeSantis signed a bill that included language effectively targeting Disney's development contracts. It precludes the independent special district from complying with any terms of a development argument that is struck within 3 months before a law modifying the manner of selecting members of that special district's government body. Essentially, it sounds like what they're trying to say is that it's unlawful to essentially go out and make moves before you know that somebody is about to come in and make laws that would prevent you from making those moves. I would think that just like legally, I would think that, hey, if it was legal for you to do it back then, if things change, whether that be one day, whether that be 1 month, whether that be 3 months, I would assume that you would still have that president and be able to, do what you want to do because it would still be legal. Now, that would be unless there was some type of clause or something, preventing that. Then I would be able to understand that. If not, then I can understand to a degree why Disney would see this as an attack. Now, Republican State Senate, let's try it. Blaise Ignolia, yeah, something like that. Added that the language to kill the bills days after warning Disney, you are not going to win this fight, the governor will. The Democratic members of the legislature have been quick to condemn the battle, and so have some Republicans. The governor's inability to grasp basic economics, coupled with his punitive style, has created a bloated and protracted grudge match, which is being bankrolled by the taxpayers. That's true, because you guys have to realize, too, this is actually the taxes money that DeSantis is using to kind of go at Disney. He's the governor. Where do you guys think his governor and where his money is going? So, that's kind of what they're saying. They're just saying this is just strictly business. Obviously, Disney, just like any business, wants to expand. And obviously, Disney is a special case. They're going to, have certain perks. I mean, if you're pretty much the single, other than, I guess, Miami, you would say Disney is the single most handedly, and really Miami probably has nothing on Disney when it comes from a bringing money into Florida kind of economical, how much money they bring in type of standpoint. So you're going to say, obviously, if you have somebody with that type of power or a company with that type of power, obviously there might have to be certain perks or something like that they may get, which is why they're in a special district, because they're going to have, unique circumstances dealing with consumers coming into the county and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Disney is going to have a completely different experience and probably need slightly different legislature than most counties would need, Now it says, as the state's executive, and let me know what you guys think about this too. Like, are you guys on Ron DeSantis' side? If you are, let me know. If you're on Disney's side, let me know. Now it says, as the state's executive heading the party, which is historically yielded to free market principles and less regulation, this third legislature effort to endure a private company is anti-ethical to conservative governance. Because, governments, conservatives, is more about promoting the business. It's not about as much of the social issues. It's traditionally more about, promoting growth, promoting finance. And that's the thing that we love about conservatives. Absolutely. So they're kind of saying, I feel like in this point, they're kind of saying, well, the values that you have as a conservative, you're kind of going away from. Yes, Disney may be considered a liberal company, or corporation, but they're still a corporation. So, it's kind of weird to see, a conservative putting more regulation on a corporation. That would be something that you would more expect, especially because of social issues. That would be something that I assume that you would more expect from a Democrat or the Democratic Party, and everything like that. Now it says, Pizzo lambasted DeSantis for using the state's revenue on battling iconic brands. Regardless of how many times he shouts, Florida is free, these are the methods of a socialist tyrant, not a Republican wonderkind. Democratic State Senator Linda Stewart, a staunch critic of DeSantis' actions against Disney, called the feud between DeSantis and Disney insane and laid blame on her Republican counterparts. Every day it seems like there's another way they want to try to make things more difficult for Disney, but all they're doing is costing taxpayers money to hire lawyers to go defend what they're doing. So let me know, guys. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys think that DeSantis is essentially like kind of, gotten off of his rocks or whatever you would want to call it a little bit, and that now he's just kind of, gotten into this feud with Disney? He doesn't want to back down, and him being the guy that he is, he's going to continue to tag Disney in a state that really, let's keep it a stack, probably loves Disney. Disney brings in a lot of money and everything into Florida. So, Florida would not be what it is without Disney. At the same time, I guess you could say that DeSantis is saying, hey, I'm the governor. We want the government of Florida to be governing Florida, not corporations, large corporations to be, necessarily building the policy for Florida. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm actually pretty interested to see like what side you guys are on, because this is one thing where I would say I'm definitely, I wouldn't say I'm split in the middle. I'm a little bit more on Disney side. I do think DeSantis is kind of acting a little bit irrationally, but I can understand where he's coming from a lot of times. So let me know what you guys think about that. Very interested to hear that. Definitely throw the video a like and everything like that. And comment, help the channel grow. I appreciate all of you guys throwing subscribes. It's been great. I really do appreciate that. But let's go ahead and get into the next topic, guys. Now, the next topic is actually about to be about Google, people. Yes, the next topic is about Google. Let me get a sip of my drink. Make my head a little smaller. I know you guys hate when my head's too big. Yeah, I got a big head, but the dreads make it look a little smaller. If I had a low cut, I really would look like I got an egghead. Now, this is the House Judiciary Chair threatens to hold Google in contempt of Congress for failing to produce subpoenaed documents. So they're threatening to hold Google. So Google actually, upon first looking at this, I thought that Congress was possibly in a lawsuit with Google, but apparently they're threatening it because they don't want to subpoena documents. So we're gonna want to see, obviously, what are these documents. If Google hasn't given them up, why haven't they given them up? Everything like that. And what this whole situation is about in the first place. I can make myself bigger again. Now, it says here we've got Representative Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio and chairman of the House Judiciary Committee during a field hearing in New York, April 17th. Now, it says House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan, Republican, Ohio, threatened enforcement action against Google that could include holding the company in contempt of Congress for failing to produce documents the committee subpoenaed to learn about communications between tech companies and the Biden administration. So this is what this is about, is they got subpoenaed about that. That's actually really interesting. I mean, it would be very interesting to have a look into how our tech companies that, essentially almost run, like, come on, like Amazon, Apple, obviously Google, Microsoft. It would be interesting to see, especially with the emergence of AI, and we're kind of looking like, okay, we kind of know we need to regulate AI. Obviously the tech companies want to just continue to develop because that's how they make their money, and the government is trying to protect its people as best as it can by putting these regulations into place before it gets out of hand and it becomes an issue, in the same way that I talk about social media. I feel like social media, way back when it first started, it would have been great if we could have had more regulation of it, as we know all of the mental health and depression and anxiety that, it has brought to our society within the last 10 or 15 years. If there was a way for us to regulate that and maybe curb that, that would have been a good thing. But obviously, now we're in the future. We can't go back and fix those mistakes, but we can learn from them. And I'm thinking AI is one of our opportunities for us to learn. What really, like, Web 2, what would social media be considered? Web 3? No, Web 2 would be Web 3? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. It might be, social media might be like Web 3, and everything like that, coming in with the metaverse and everything like that as well. I still consider that social media. Web 2 was probably just like web pages, Google search, stuff like that. Internet Explorer at the time, But let's see what it's saying. Now, it says in a letter to a lawyer for Google shared exclusively with CNBC, Jordan called the company's compliance so far insufficient and demanded it hand over more information. If the company fails to comply fully by its new May 22 deadline, the committee may be forced to consider the use of one or more enforcement mechanisms. This is actually interesting because it's not too often that you hear about, one of these big companies getting sued necessarily directly from the government, itself, or, and from Congress itself. So this is kind of a unique situation. Obviously it happens, but, it's not often, It says Jordan issued subpoenas to the CEOs of Google parent Alphabet, at Amazon, Apple, Meta, which is Facebook, and Microsoft, basically all of the largest, monopoly of the tech industry, demanding that they hand over communication with the U.S. government to understand how and to what extent the executive branch coerced and colluded with companies and other intermediaries to censor speech. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for basically these companies that are basically all the social media companies and people who handle communication. Like, think even Apple, they're using the iPhone. They may not have their own, social media platform, but everyone has an iPhone. Everyone communicates through it. And the iPhone is probably where Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, that's probably they're most downloaded on what app store, the iOS or Apple, app store. So it would make sense to talk to them as well. Same kind of general thing with like Google, thinking about like the Google phones. It says Jordan requested the companies comply by March 23rd. He made a request after initially asking the companies to hand over the information voluntarily, but said they had not sufficiently complied. Now, I can understand why they wouldn't want to hand it over voluntarily, because I mean, why would you want this information to get out to the public if you don't have to? These are probably very deep conversations, spent between these people, where the government is trying to, regulate and kind of control the people, whereas the social media sites of these tech companies are trying to also do that. But they're trying to figure out a way to stay in regulations without losing money, and, in whichever way that would be financially, good for them. It's kind of like the government is like the social, and it's like these companies are the financial, and they have to come together, to build regulations that kind of meet in that middle and is safe for everyone. Now it says, while several other tech giants were subpoenaed in connection with the committee's investigation, the other companies have so far appeared more responsive than Google to the demands, according to a familiar source with the matter who declined to be named in order to speak freely. Now, Congress can hold... Oh, he's a snitch. They got a snitch. They got a rat. Now, it says Congress can hold individuals in contempt for refusing to provide information requested by a committee. Doing so requires a committee vote and then a floor vote with a simple majority. So now we know how that works. Republicans hold the majority in the House, 222 to 213. So I wonder what side the Republicans would be on. Normally Republicans are more on the side of corporations and everything like that, whereas Democrats are normally more on the side of like the social issues and everything like that. So I could definitely see the Republicans kind of striking this down, possibly saying, hey, you can't just force businesses to give up documents unless they've done some type of wrongdoing, or there's, some type of inclination that there was wrongdoing. But it seems like that's what they're saying when they use the word coercion between the Biden administration and these companies, which I feel would show some type of wrongdoing, and then, probably give them the justification for the subpoena. I'm not exactly sure how the law works in that case. But if you guys know, if you guys are my attorneys out there, definitely let us know what's going on. Let us know what's looking right. Let us know if anything is looking, iffy about this case and everything like that. Criminal contempt cases can be referred to the Justice Department, or Congress could seek a civil judgment from the federal court to try and enforce the subpoena, according to a 2017 paper from the Congressional Research Service. Now, they may seek to take other actions against Google, like deposing the company's management or trying to restrict federal dollars from going into Google and federal legislation. So if Google doesn't want to give it up, there could be consequences, and everything like that. It's crazy. But I get it. In the letter, Jordan laid out several ways Alphabet or Google has failed to adequately comply with the committee's demands. He said they frustrated the committee's review of the responsive material by unilaterally redacting key information necessary to understand the context and content of the material. Google didn't assert that these redactions included privileged information, according to Jordan, and the committee requires redacted documents to be handed over. Now, they place some documents in the reading room in a form and manner that prevents and frustrates the committee's understanding and use of those documents, and fails to comply with those terms of the subpoena without the committee's consent. So it seems like, one of those things where it's like, if you owe somebody, let's say you owe them $50, you might give them $5, which really does nothing. But you think that'll keep them quiet for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It seems like that kind of thing. They're like, I don't really want to give the documents. So I'm not sure exactly what this reading room is, but, maybe it's a place where, you can't really take the documents out, or you're not able to utilize the documents in the way that you would necessarily want to. Like, imagine if they had the documents in their own hands. They could have, they could have their their researchers and everything looking over the documents, looking at the legality of everything, instead of that. What if it was actually a reading room and it's just a fat stack of papers, and, they get to just go in there and kind of look at them, no laptops, no computers, no way to hold on to the information. And, they just don't have the time or the resources to really utilize it. So it could be one of those things where it's like, you give $5 so you can kind of protect the 50, Now, he wrote, Google produced 4,000 pages of documents in response to the subpoena, but those documents have yet to include an appreciable volume of several types of communication the committee assumes Google will have. So they don't know that Google has it, but they're assuming Google will have it. So Google's probably trying to, yeah, like give them little things at a time, like, kind of protect whatever they may be trying to protect. It may not be a thing because, they haven't said that they know this is there or anything. So it may not be there. It's just they assume that it's there. So if you're Google, you're not going to just give them something that's going to be negative to them. You're going to give them and act like you're giving them what they want, while really protecting your six. Now, communications over messaging services other than email and communications between employees about any contact with executive branch of the United States government. The release of the Twitter files has shown just how extensively the executive branch communicated and coordinated with technology companies regarding content moderation. Now, this is interesting too, though, because, Twitter was a unique type of circumstance. Their entire platform was kind of, built this whole year on Twitter. The entire idea has been on content moderation. I wouldn't say Facebook and Instagram and YouTube deal with that same type of issue as much. Obviously, content moderation in this woke era is a big thing, but Twitter is one that was heavily under fire for this. So them trying to essentially use justification of it, saying that, hey, well, the government was extensively speaking to Twitter about this, so we feel like you guys may have some. It's just, it's a smart move. It's a comparison that they're trying to make. But you can, if you understand these companies, you understand they do operate a little bit differently. And if you understand the history of Twitter throughout this last year, you could understand a little bit more why Twitter would have that kind of communication than, Google or Apple or something like that. Not saying that it's not there, because there probably is something in the background, but I'm not gonna say that because my YouTube channel is an employee of Google. But yeah, let's see here. This was basically from internal documents that Twitter owner Elon Musk made available to hand a selected group of journalists when he took over the company. We were skeptical, he was probably, he was going in the company, wanted everything to be transparent, just start off clean slate, good way to do it. So he just said, hey, I'm going to just hand this over, before it even gets sticky. Says, we're skeptical that Alphabet's interactions with the federal government where pressure was applied were any less concerning than those of Twitter. To me, that's all opinion based. In a statement, the Google spokesperson said the company has been producing relevant documents in response to the committee's requests and will continue to work constructively with them. So I'm going to have to say right now, this is a W move for Google. At first it sounded bad to say, it's Congress or the House Judiciary Chair, which is what it technically would be, is suing Google and everything like that. But the case comes to be out is basically they're kind of coming at and trying to receive information from all of these large tech companies. Some tech companies gave some gave some gave less, and everything like that. And we're just talking about this specific instance went Google, and they're saying, hey, we're giving them documents and everything like that. It's almost like one of those things where they're saying, hey, we're giving you what. I'm sorry if what you want just isn't there, and everything like that. So let me know what you guys think about this whole situation and everything like that. Google, if you're watching YouTube, if you guys are watching, y'all can subscribe too. CEO of YouTube, y'all can subscribe. We're trying to get some growth on this channel. We've been doing very well. I appreciate all of you that love watching my videos, and I love that y'all love watching my videos. And when y'all comment and everything like that, I love speaking to you guys about that. So definitely leave a like and everything like that. It helps a ton. And now I'm going to go and get some water real quick, and then we're going to move into the next topic, which is going to be about this Trump essay trial with Jean Carroll that's been going on, and it looks like it's about to go to a close soon. And my ice was making some noises. Let me check on something real quick. All right. And get this sip of water. Sip of beer. Let's go ahead and get into the next topic, people. Now, the next topic has to deal with Trump in this essay case, not the first one. Well, I mean, he's probably dealt with more than two. Obviously, this wasn't his last one that was dealing with that Peace Star. This one is actually the one with Jean Carroll that I believe happened in a clothing and or a department store in like the mid 90s or something like that. She came out with a claim around 2020, basically, or 2018, sometime around there, essentially right when he ran for president. But this has been ongoing. This trial has actually been going for a while, so this will be very, very interesting to see. Now, let's take a look at this. Trump lawyer Jean Carroll attorney dwell over the truth of, claim against the ex-president. Now it says a lawyer for writer Jean Carroll told jurors Monday that Donald Trump followed a playbook he had for kissing and groping women without their consent before he did that to Carroll in a New York department store dressing room in the mid-1990s. She said, "You must hold him to account for what he's done." Carroll's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, said as she delivered the closing argument to jurors in U.S. District Court in Manhattan for a civil trial where Trump is accused of battery and defaming the writer. So I want to hear what they think about this whole playbook he has. Let's be real here. I mean, not only is it bad enough to be groping women, but if you had a playbook, for it, a way to a playbook, a written out or, a process for kind of getting away with these type of things, that would be insane. That's not me saying that Trump actually had a playbook or anything like that. I'm just saying that, that would be insane. And also, how would Carroll's case even know that, and everything like that. But let's just see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Now it says Trump's lawyer Joseph Tacopina in his own summation called Carroll's case a scam, arguing that the evidence of this case shows what Jean Carroll has done is an affront to justice. She abused the system by bringing a false claim for money, status, and political reasons. And as you know, they're probably going to go with that because they're probably going to say, of course, why didn't she come out with this? And, let's let's say this happened in 1995. They would say, why didn't she say anything in 2000, 2005? Why did she wait until Trump was about to become president, to finally come out and make these statements is what I assume they would go with, because I assume that would be one of your main things to kind of suggest that, hey, maybe there's an ulterior motive to it, or alternative motive. She said, it says she is minimizing real rape and exploiting real pain and suffering. We cannot let her profit to the tune of millions of dollars. Now it says the trial is taking place as Trump, the leading candidate for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, faces multiple criminal investigations. About 24 women have publicly accused Trump of, SA misconduct over the years. 24 is a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's at least 24 women. So that's something you don't want to take with a grain of salt. Obviously, the more money that you make or the more power that you have, then you may just have people coming out of the woodworks. We've heard countless times of basketball and football players who've done nothing wrong. One woman comes out, she's trying to get a cash deal. Other women may have been like, oh, well, I had some involvement with him. Maybe he didn't want to, mess with me anymore. This has been years. I'd never got anything out of the interaction that I have with this multimillionaire. Let me kind of, go back and, maybe just say something, throw some fuel on the fire, and maybe see if I can get a payout too. That happens. But at the same time, too, there are just some ugly and nasty individuals out here that need to be served justice. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this court case really plays out and what the jurors and, the judge really thinks occurred here. Now it says, but Carroll's lawsuit, which was filed when he was the president, is the first such claim to go to trial. The other two women testified during the trial about Trump, them in separate incidents years ago. When America voted for Trump, we all knew how he treated women. Now, you could possibly say that, there was the whole grabbing the, pee, thing and everything like that. So it wasn't like Trump had the best reputation when it came to women, before his presidency or going into his presidency and everything like that. So that's definitely not going to be a good look for him. All the cases that he's dealing with in New York and in Atlanta, we're in Atlanta, and everything like that is definitely not going to be a good look. But she said America voted for him anyway. Now, it says Kaplan arguing what happened to Carroll is a part of a long-standing pattern of behavior by Trump, shows jurors a snippet of the Access Hollywood, which they were actually working really hard to try to get these tapes, I believe, in which he boasted in 2005 about touching women without their consent. That's going to be a terrible look, because I don't know how y'all be with y'all's friends. My dudes is my dudes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how y'all be with y'all's friends, but we don't joke about things like that. I feel like for the most part, the only type of people who would joke about things like that are people who would do that. But I'm not saying just because somebody, it could be a joke. It could be a very, very, very bad and inappropriate joke. But you never know. You can't really throw them to the fire, for that or anything like that. But like I said, his comments are disgusting. Let's get into these comments though. He said, "I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Here's that grab him by the pee. You can do anything." He said on the tape, recorded for an appearance on that entertainment show. Now that's insane. Like the I just start kissing them. I don't wait. When you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. It doesn't sound good. It's definitely not a good look. I wouldn't say that it's, a high class level of him saying I just take what I want to take, but it's definitely a L statement for sure. Now, and he might be right, he's Donald Trump, multi-millionaire, comes from a very wealthy family and everything like that. I'm sure there are women that just throw themselves at Trump. I'm sure, especially in his younger years, there was times where Trump probably could just kind of kiss a woman and she probably was like, okay, it's Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. But it doesn't sound good for sure. I would definitely like to say that. But we've all seen circumstances, with rappers and, social media stars and celebrities and things like that where, they have thousands of women throwing themselves at them. So, I'm not defending what he's saying. What I'm saying is that there are definitely circumstances where there are certain calibers of men that women wouldn't want. Like, oh, I just would want him to just kiss me, or to something like that, to where they would see that as, a W, I guess you could say, for them. But in general, this statement is just ugly. It's a very ugly statement. And this shows a lot about Trump and is going to be bad for the trial for sure. Now, Kaplan told jurors, what is he doing here? He's telling you in his own words, his modus operandi, his MO, he kissed them without their consent. The evidence shows overwhelming, and you guys got to think about it too. We got to think about it like it sounds bad. But think about it like this. There's a difference between the guy that takes a girl out on a date. They have a good date. They go, he takes her home. They're right outside of, her door and everything like that. And he's, instead of asking, hey, can I go in for the kiss, which, normally is not. Normally, you kind of got to read the vibes. You got to read the room, You read the room and everything like that. Normally you ask for the kiss, or there's a guy who just goes for the kiss. And let's keep it a stack. Normally, I feel like women do kind of resonate more with the guy who's just going to go for the kiss. Not not in an ugly type of circumstance. Think about the date type of circumstance that I'm in. Why? Because it shows that the man is confident. It shows, and everything like that. And this is not me saying, hey guys, just go for the kiss. Like she'll want you more because you go for the kiss. I'm just saying we all have seen circumstances where there's the hesitant guy who doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. He's not very confident. He doesn't feel like the girl is really messing with him like that and everything. And the girl can just smell it off of him, and is unattractive to her. And it's a fine line. You know what I'm saying? And a fine middle ground that men really have to work with this kind of thing, because it's almost like if you don't go for the kiss, then you're not that confident guy. You know what I'm saying? You're not that guy that a lot of women like. A lot of women like those traits of the guys where it's like if they want something, they'll go and get it, not in a grapey type of way. You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. And there's also the guy who's, real hesitant, and he's like, can I touch you? You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. And they normally don't like. So guys, just be real careful. I would just say protect yourself. Have consent, guys. Have actual consent. Ask, is this okay? Is this not okay? Because this is 2023, and not only do you need to protect yourself, but you shouldn't be out here essaying women. You shouldn't be doing nothing like that. So guys, I'm just gonna have to say, like, yes, it may be a little ugly, it may be a little off-putting. Obviously, the girl may not be attracted to you as much, and I'm talking about in a date type of situation. Obviously, if you're in the club and you just grab a woman and kiss her, that is straight essay, and you need to go to jail for that. I don't know why you would think you could do that, but I'm talking about that type of situation. You know what I'm saying? Where it's, you're right outside of her house. Y'all had a good dinner date and everything like that. It's the difference between, feeling the vibes. Y'all's heads come together and y'all make that kiss, that beautiful kiss where y'all just both can feel and y'all have that mental understanding, or there's that mental stage. She's looking in her eyes. You're looking in her eyes. She wants you to make that kiss and everything like that. And you're like, is it okay? Like if I kiss you? And it just throws the whole vibe off. You know what I'm saying? So guys over here at NGB Businesses, we going for full consent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to see none of my guys end up in jail. Off of something dumb. And also, guys, you don't want to make women uncomfortable. I mean, you don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, but you guys get what I'm saying. Now, in his deposition for the case, Trump told Kaplan that unfortunately or fortunately for millions of years, stars had been able to, grope women without asking for permission first. That's a terrible thing to say. That's a terrible thing to say. I mean, I guess I partially, I don't know. It's not something you would say. Like, he actually used the word fortunately describing SA, which is weird. Like, yeah, when is that fortunate? Who would say fortunately? Someone who thinks they're a star. He thinks stars like him can get away with it. It's good defense. Carroll testified early in the trial that the president had, in a dressing room of Boardolph Goodman in Manhattan after they had a chance encounter at the store. He denies, doing that to 79-year-old Carroll and accused her of making up the story for political and financial reasons. He also said, she's not my type. That's also kind of like a kind of ugly thing to say. It's like, so if she was your type, does that make it better because she's not your type? Like, if she was your type, does that all of a sudden, if he did that action, does that justify it now? You know what I mean? I get what he's saying. Like, he's saying, this is not my type. This isn't even a woman that I would be attracted to. There's a bug. I didn't get it. But, yeah, you guys, it's just ugly. Now, Kaplan showed jurors a video of Trump's deposition taken last fall. He was asked about a photo of him, Carroll, her then husband, and Trump's then wife, Trump at an event from the 1980s. That's Marla, she said on the photo, identifying Carroll as his other ex-wife. This was really weird. This was like, in my opinion, this was on some like Joe Biden, like dementia type of move. Like, if you're married to somebody, you're going to know what they look like. You're not going to confuse them for someone. So the point that he did that, I don't know if he thought he was doing something there, if he thought he was playing some type of smart game there, but that is definitely weird. That's weird. Like, I don't know anybody who would be married to somebody and not be able to know that it's them. Like, even if that person has like an identical twin, normally that person can even very easily tell the difference between the twins literally looking at them from a distance, seeing a photo. You know what I'm saying? They can tell, oh, that one's the one that's my wife. So that's wild. He pointed to Miss Carroll, who he says is not his type, and mistook her for Mara Maples, which would be crazy because that was his wife. Had to have been his type. Now it says Carroll is exactly his type, and he repeated it twice and only changed when his lawyer pointed it out. He made up an excuse for why he made a mistake, saying it was blurry, and it's not at all blurry. Jean Carroll is a former cheerleader from Indiana, was exactly his type. So she was a cheerleader and everything. Does sound like Donald Trump's type, you know what I'm saying? Does sound like Donald Trump's type, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? But let's see. It says Trump's lawyer said people have strong opinions about Donald Trump, but he argued they should act on those feelings at a ballot box, not deciding in the merits of his case. Because obviously people are going to be looking, they're going to be like, well, I was about to vote for Donald Trump, but do he be on this? Is this what he be on, and everything like that? And that's a good reason to think about it. I mean, you would want your president to have a certain standard, a certain moral code, you would say. Now it says, apply the facts of the law, the rule of law, regardless of that defendant's name. They want you to hate him enough to ignore the facts, focusing on anything but the story. Now, the defense lawyer scoffed at the idea that Trump, who he called one of New York's most famous people, would attack Carroll in a department store just down the street from his home in Trump Tower and imperil his career in doing so. That would be an extremely stupid thing to do. He goes into a department store and risks it all and hopes no one hears him. That's graphic. But, yeah. He argued that Carroll never planned on filing a lawsuit until George Conway got his hooks into her. Carroll testified that after going public with her claim against Trump in a 2019 magazine article, the conservative lawyer Conway encouraged her to think seriously about suing the former president. They avowed Trump enemy Conway and his wife, former Trump White House advisor Kellyanne Conway, jointly announced that they were getting divorced in March. We were saying it didn't happen because it didn't happen. How do you prove a negative? How do you prove you didn't do it? Trump, unlike Carroll, has not appeared in person for the trial. Now it says the judge in the case has given, the attorney until Sunday afternoon to change his decision to not have Trump testify in his own defense, but that deadline passed without the lawyer telling the judge that Trump would take the stand on Monday. He was criminally charged last month by a Manhattan district attorney for falsifying business records related to 2016 Hutch payment to then P-star Stormy Daniels. Before election that year, we already know he was found not guilty in that, so I don't even know why they're even talking about that. It's almost like slander in that way. You get found non-guilty in a case, and every article that you pop up in, they mention a case that you were found not guilty in that puts you in a negative light. That's kind of slander in a way, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's facts because it did happen, and they did say that he was not guilty, but I mean, I feel like bringing it up is something that you would do if you want to make the person look bad. Now, it says Trump also faces multiple criminal investigations for his efforts to overturn his laws to Biden, and everything like that. We definitely know Trump thought he won the election and everything like that. So let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think this is kind of a thing where a president is getting attacked? They know that Donald Trump was taking power and everything like that, and somebody was kind of convincing Carroll to, kind of take that power away from Donald Trump based on an experience, and this is all kind of made up, or maybe they had a little situation and maybe it didn't go well, and everything like that, and maybe later she realized, okay, this is like a president, I should be eating off of this, maybe the bill's hitting a little bit, we're in a recession, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. Or do you guys think Donald Trump is actually just a disgusting guy and he actually did do it, and that's why there's 24 women coming out saying very similar things about the way that he interacts with them? I personally don't know. I would really love to see the way that this case comes out. I really like to see more facts dealing with this case. and everything like that. But I would just like whoever is wrong to be held accountable. If Donald Trump was wrong and he actually did do this, then I think he should definitely, go to jail. SA is one of the worst things that you can do. And if Jean Carroll's lying, I think that she should also go to jail for trying to, put some type of case on somebody like this. It's very bad that, a lot of people can be accused of things. And when it's found that they actually didn't do it, the accuser who lied used government money, what I'm saying, or wasted a bunch of people's money, time, energy, all of that, can kind of get away scot-free after lying. What I'm saying? Kind of like Amber Heard. She hasn't really paid her stuff back to Johnny Depp. But yeah, guys, I want to know, like, I'm not necessarily saying pick a side. If you have a side, let me know it. Let me know why you think the way that you think and everything like that. This is going to be very interesting, and we're going to want to see the way this plays out. I'm going to grab my last beer, and then we can go ahead and get into the last video, guys. Oh, also, like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. All right, guys. I've got my last beer. This is our last video, and we got an interesting one. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger actually sat down. I'm not sure if it was an interview or a conference or anything like that, but they essentially got together and they talked about their plans, their 100-year plan for Berkshire Hathaway, which is very interesting. Warren Buffett is known as the greatest investor of possibly all time. So to see his outlook after, post his life and really all of our lives, 100 years, some of y'all may make it to 100. I hope you do. I hope you do. But it'll be very interesting to kind of see what they have to say, what kind of, what they're thinking about the future. And just, to me, we a lot of times here we think about fast money. A lot of people like to think about day trading, crypto, that kind of whole fast money thing. But what I feel like what good investors are they're not looking to trade, they're looking to invest. So this is one of the greatest people that we can learn from. And not only seeing, okay, he doesn't have a 30-year investment plan, like you should probably have right now. I definitely do. And everything like that. It's interesting to see what his 100-year plan would be for Berkshire Hathaway. So let's go ahead and get into this video, guys. I'm not going to hold you up. And let's just kind of see what they're talking about, what they got to say and everything like that. Obviously, here's Warren Buffett right here. Looking good. They're looking good in their age, they're looking good. They got those old man suits on. They don't care about none of that. But let's just kind of see what they what their vision is. Their 100-year vision. There's going to be an ad. We can watch me dance for a little bit while I drink this beer. Excuse me. Y'all see a chest work? All right. Let's get to it.
26, in your tribute to Benjamin Graham, you wrote, Walter Lippmann spoke of men who plant trees that other men will sit under. Ben Graham was such a man. You're both such people. Could you share with us your 100-year vision for Berkshire? It's a question to you both.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing about Ben Graham. Ben Graham did all kinds of things for me, and he never expected one thing in return. I mean, just, you name it, and he did it, and there wasn't any hidden,
Come on.
a hint, I should say, of anything he expected.
Let's give this some buffer time. Sheesh. Let that buffer a little bit. Give it a few seconds. This is really interesting to see. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger speaking about the future of their company. It's going to be really interesting to see what Berkshire Hathaway has, 50 years down the line. These guys they've been bulls. They've been bulls, not necessarily, stock market bulls, but essentially stock market bulls, Wall Street bulls. So it's just real interesting to see.
Return.
This is like history.
I checked. He wrote a book in 1949 that, in a sense, said to me in
very
persuasive terms that what I'd been spending the previous 8 or 9 years working at and loving was all wrong. And that book has been, I check it every now and then on Amazon to where it ranks. And, Amazon ranks hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of books by sales. And Ben Graham's book has been up there like number 300 or 350 or something like that forever. And there isn't any book like that. I wrote HarperCollins a note the other day because they're bringing out another edition. And I asked them how many copies have been sold, and they said the records didn't go back far enough, but they had 7.3 million copies of this little book that changed my life, and continues to outsell every investment book. Investment books come along, and they're number 400 or 1,000 or something for a while, and then all of a sudden they're number 25,000 or 200,000, and this book, in how many areas can you find any book that has had that sustained position? You go back and look at number 1 at 1950 or number 2 or number 3, and you look at in 51 and 52, they don't continue. I mean, they just don't continue. Cookbooks, maybe 1 or 2 of them last for a while, but there is nothing. And this book lives on, and everybody keeps bringing out new books and saying a lot of other things.
All right, come on.
But
Let's hear what's going on with Berkshire Hathaway.
Important is what he said in 1949 in this relatively thin little book. So, our vision for Berkshire is exactly what we said today. We want it to be a company that is owned by its shareholders and behaves in a way that society is happy that it exists and not unhappy. And we will have unlimited capital. We'll get lots of talent. And we've got a base that can't be beat. And there's no reason why it can't be perpetuated, just like Ben's book, and maybe be an example to other people. And if so, we'll be very happy.
So we got to read the book now.
Yeah, one of the really interesting things about Ben Graham, he was a really gifted teacher, a very honorable profession. And that is what has lasted. However, an interesting fact that he was sheepish about in his old age was that more than half of all the investment return that Ben Graham made in his whole life came from one stock, one growth stock, Geico. Berkshire's subsidiary. And
Interesting.
at the time he operated, there were a lot of sort of lousy companies that were too cheap, and you could make a little money floating from one to another. But the big money he made was one growth stock. Buying one undervalued great company is a
So it seems that right now they're really promoting. Well, this is essentially. Let me see.
very good thing, as Berkshire has found out again and again and again.
So there wasn't as much there as I really would have liked. I would have definitely have liked to see them dive a little bit deeper. I guess the lesson here that we can really get out of this is, one, you should probably read that book. I believe it's Graham's. It may not be The Intelligent Investor, but I'm definitely find that and let you guys know about that book. And if I haven't already read it, I've definitely read The Intelligent Investor. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you guys know about that and everything like that. But it was very interesting what he said at the end. He was saying there's a lot of whole little stocks that were cheap that you could kind of hop in, hop out. What does that remind you guys of? To me, that reminds me of that kind of whole day trading, that kind of whole, oh, is this crypto going to be hot? Yo, is this crypto going to be hot? Doing that trading as opposed to finding, like he said, an undervalued company that you can just grow with. There's a bug. The undervalued company that you can just grow with, you know what I'm saying, throughout possibly the rest of your life. And the way they're saying is that's where the real money is. So we can see possibly in the future their 100-year plan is obviously, like he said, they're going to hire good talent and everything like that. Man, it would be insane to work at Berkshire Hathaway. Let's just be real here. You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. But it seems like what they're really trying to focus on is, as opposed to, is stocks that are, one, undervalued, but essentially growth stocks is what it seems like they're looking for. Let me know what you guys think. Like, do you guys think Berkshire Hathaway will still be as strong even after these guys come? As he said, they talked about Graham and how he was a great teacher. I'm sure Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger have some great guys under him that are going to do some damage, you know, in the future, you know, once they leave the company and everything like that. But yeah, let me know what you guys learned from this. Let me know if there were some lessons that I possibly missed that we could get from this, some value that we could get from this. I definitely wish they had have dove a little bit deeper into it. But, you know, we can't really get into that. You know, one day I'm going to do something where, like, we watch, like, a full interview of these guys, or, you know, full interviews. And, you know, that'll just be the whole live stream where we just watch and just break down these full interviews that people do and everything like that. But guys, I hope you have a great day. Thanks to everybody who tuned in the stream. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe and everything like that. It helps the channel grow and shows me that you guys, you know, appreciate these videos and that you really like what we got going on over here. So I hope you guys all have a great day. I hope you learned a lot today. We talked about a lot of topics. So I hope you guys all have a great time, and thanks for tuning in.